The sentiment, it's okay to be white, is now a hate crime. Okay, so what's the correct position? That it's not okay to be white?
Tucker Carlson doesn't like being called a white nationalist.
Pro tip. That thing he was bringing up in no way indicates anyone is a white supremacist. The mere mentioning of the term, it's okay to be white, and the sheer outrage that it garnished, despite who it may have been forefronted by, is still, to this day, retarded. It has nothing to do with white supremacy, has nothing to do with white nationalism, other than, it might have been founded by somebody, the movement itself might have been spearheaded by people that were like, hey, look, we're going to take this seemingly innocuous message, we're going to post it all over public, particularly more left-leaning areas such as college campuses, and see what kind of a rise we can get out of people. And the mere fact that you brought this up proves that still to this day, your butt hurt. So next time use ointment. It hurts less.
After all, what does that phrase mean anyway?
It would have been interesting to hear someone tell us exactly what a white nationalist is and how we qualify.
Gladly. For this, I'm going to catch you up on a foundational white nationalist belief. It's the debate between civic and ethnic nationalism. So civic nationalism is the idea that America, fundamentally, is a nation of people with a shared set of ideals. Immigrants can come here, subscribe to those ideals, and become American. White nationalists are not a fan.
I like the fact you're talking as if you yourself are a civic nationalist, because let's be honest here, you're not a nationalist by any sense. You're probably the same kind of person that believes that America is inherently evil because of the past. But I digress. Now, Tucker Carlson has in no way, shape, or form indicated that he's a white nationalist of any means. More civic nationalist than anything else, but that point aside, the reason why he has to ask that question is because of people like you who paint anyone that even falls into even the civic nationalist side of the situation as people that advocate, as though those people advocate for an ethno-state and are white nationalists. When in reality, even civic nationalism has a little bit of ambiguity to it, because there are people who are civic nationalists that believe in the system as we have it now being not being fundamentally flawed, and then you have people like me who are civic nationalists that believe that the system is fundamentally flawed and needs to be updated and fixed, mainly due to the fact that our immigration system is all cluttered with people that just simply come here illegally. But the fact that you portray this as though you are a civic nationalist worries me, because it almost appears to me as if you don't quite understand what it means. But I digress. Let's continue.
And guess who else isn't so much a fan of this whole nation of shared ideals thing?
You are not a fan of this nation of shared ideals thing. What, like, are you gonna try and later in this video to make the claim through some kind of mental gymnastics that Tucker Carlson isn't a fan of the idea that we're a nation of shared ideals? Because from what I understand, the concept of you're an American first and wherever your other nationality is second, is a pretty common thing amongst people that believe in, I don't know, civic nationalism. Oh, I forgot you're a civic nationalist. Excuse me.
Is defined by its ideals. Okay, so what are those ideals? The less we have in common, somehow the stronger we are. Is that true?
Now comes the important part. If you're a white nationalist YouTuber, a typical coming out video involves casting off all that civic nationalism stuff in favor of ethnic nationalism. This is the idea that America is actually bound together by...
Okay, this is not a very uncommon tactic for an individual of your stature. We see the thing is questioning what ideals people actually view as American ideals is actually very important, because, well, quite frankly, there are cultures that are different than ours that are not compatible with ours. And people from these cultures, if they do wish to become part of America or any other Western country for that matter, need to understand that they need to get rid of their previous notions of culture and how things are upheld, whether it be by law or within society, and learn that they have to uphold now the Western values of whatever country they happen to be going to. For example, somebody coming from a Middle Eastern country that is under the tyrannical rule of the an Islamic government. They need to understand that women are not second-class citizens in the West. They are on the same level as men and are treated equally by the law. They also need to understand that Sharia law does not apply. We follow the law of the Constitution in the United States and of state laws. So that is a big thing that does need to be brought up, because I'm assuming you're the kind of person that believes that multiculturalism is their strength, but in actuality, all it is further weakens us because it divides us upon cultural levels. The country becomes very weak when the whole country as a whole cannot come together and say, all right, these are the things that we hold dear. I'm not saying that people that come from different cultures can't come to the United States. I have no issue with that whatsoever, as long as they understand that when they come to the United States, they are no longer part of the culture that they were previously a part of. They are Americans now. That is actually how civic nationalism works. It's not the belief that ideals are no longer important, culture doesn't matter, we should just let everybody in. That's not civic nationalism. That's just stupidity. But what you're doing is you're conflating Tucker Carlson's questions on clarifications of some, probably directing at people like you. He wants you to clarify what you believe to be the American ideal, so that if, let's say he was arguing with you and you come out with some bullshit answer, he can call you out on it. That in no way, shape, or form can equate to him being part of the white nationalist movement. Also, I'm going to be cutting out a large section of this where he goes and starts talking about coming out as a white nationalist YouTuber. I don't fucking care about that. I'm just here to point out that he's constantly conflating white nationalism and civic nationalism when he isn't even himself, well, not conflating, but trying to say that Tucker Carlson isn't a civic nationalist, but instead is an ethno-nationalist, and when the guy that's doing this isn't even a civic nationalist himself. So he has no room to talk on the matter. That's the whole point of this video. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Let's continue.
America's actual people, with their actual families and towns and traditions and history and customs, may be surprised to learn that they're irrelevant to the success or failure of what they imagined was their country. As soon as you start defining things by ideas rather than individuals, people become irrelevant.
This is where it gets dark. White nationalists believe that civic nationalism is a myth that threatens whites because white people could have their population replaced by other ethnicities. You've heard this sort of racist paranoia before. But surely Tucker Carlson wouldn't take it that far.
According to Lindsey Graham, you could take our entire population and swap it out for 320 million, I don't know, Chinese or Indians or Africans or Canadians or people from New Zealand.
You do realize, you unimaginably stupid fucking cunt, that when he's talking about American families, he's including American families that are black, Hispanic, and Asian. When people say American families, they don't mean just whites. You thought he meant whites. That is your brain thinking that. So, which one of you is racist again? Is it Tucker Carlson, or is it actually you that thinks that when somebody says American family, they are only referring to whites because, hey, blacks, Hispanics, and Asians, they can't be American at all. This kind of tribalism irritates the shit. I mean, the mere fact that you're trying to equate the idea of individualism with fucking white nationalism irritates the piss out of me, because white nationalism is a very collective idea. Collective around the identity of, the perceived identity of white people. Well, not the perceived identity. White is an identity, but the perceived notion that everybody that is white thinks the same, and, has relatively the same values, which may be true, may not be true. I don't know. I've never seen a study on it. But regardless, that's not the point. The point is that individualism does not equate to white nationalism. That is a fucking false equivalence, if ever there was one. And you acting like it's some kind of racist rhetoric just further proves your liberal fucking bias. And I don't mean liberal in the sense of, like, Sargon of Akkad or Dave Rubin are actually whether the individual matters. No, I'm talking about the liberal that thinks only the collective matters, the ones that constantly look to adhere themselves to some form of collectivism, whether it be their gender identity, their feminist identity, their sexual identity, their color, or any combination thereof. Quite frankly, I find it dumb, because I think people should be treated on an individual basis, because individuals are different from person to person to person. I don't think one black guy walking on the street is going to be equivalent to another black guy. But this dumb fuck would probably tell you that they are. Anyway, point is, individual doesn't equal white nationalism. That's all that I really needed to say.
But surely Tucker Carlson wouldn't take it that far.
According to Lindsey Graham, you could take our entire population and swap it out for 320 million, I don't know, Chinese or Indians or Africans or Canadians or people from New Zealand, and the place would be no different so long as the idea was still there.
Woo! Tucker Carlson's white nationalist rhetoric is nothing new.
Alright, A, Canada is majority white. B, New Zealand is majority white. C, people from different parts of the world have different cultures. So, while the idea of America might still be the same, it's still America, the culture would be different. And also, you do realize that while whites do make up a majority of the country, there are minorities in the United States. And when you said 320 million people, he wasn't referring to just the whites, you fucking moron. He was referring to the blacks and Hispanics that are living here as well. That, I'm assuming at least a majority of them subscribe to the American culture, as it were, or Western culture, if you will. But no, we're going to completely ignore that and say it's just the whites that he was talking about, disregarding the fact that Canada is majorly white and New Zealand is majorly white. But that's not fucking important. I have a white nationalist agenda to try and defame here and take down. But wait, it gets better. Wait to the next clip.
Carlos Maza over at Vox did an in-depth look at all these parallels back in July, but things have gotten way worse. Carlson's been spending tons of studio time stoking fears of widespread discrimination against white people.
A class this spring at Ohio State University is dedicated to what it clearly regards as the biggest problem in a country with a lot of problems. Of course, it's straight white men. I've got a whole list of Democratic officials attacking white men for being white men. What's the idea? How much of that are you going to take before you explode at the unfairness of it all?
Now, are we calling Tucker Carlson a Nazi? No.
Are we calling Tucker Carlson a Nazi? No, we're just going to heavily imply it. By the way, that video that he was talking about, I did a response to it, but long story short, they are simply conflating the fact that there are a large amount of the alt-right, and by extension white supremacists, as they, look at them with rose-colored glasses, which some of them are and some of them aren't, but that's not the point. The point is they're saying just because he has a large fan base from that group, that must mean that he himself holds their views, because, people that watch them obviously immediately means that that person that they're watching agrees with everything that they're saying. There's no nuance to that whatsoever. But in regards to this other side of this, the things that Tucker Carlson is saying isn't that difficult to see if you open up your eyes, you dumb fuck. The whole "it's okay to be white" sparking so much controversy, and like Evergreen State College and the head of the DNC coming up and saying it's her job to shut down white people. Which, by the way, she was white. But the fact of the matter is that you can't look at all these things. And what Tucker Carlson is talking about, he says, how much of that can you take before you explode? He was foreshadowing what we are seeing now, which is a rise in people that believe in white nationalism or the alt-right. But the fact of the matter is, am I saying that these individuals are a direct resultant of this anti-white hysteria? Yes and no. There obviously were some people that simply are going to have that viewpoint. However, their numbers have been bolstered exponentially simply because of the amount of anti-white rhetoric in mainstream media and in college universities and to some extent public education. It's not that difficult of a thing to see when you open up your eyes and stop looking at the world through the narrow vision of the Overton window, thinking that anything that's even remotely outside of your realm of understanding is some form of white nationalism. The only thing that Tucker Carlson is doing is pointing out the blatant truth that anybody with a computer and internet in 5 seconds can find out online. It's not that difficult of a thing for you to understand. But hold on. You said you're not going to call him a Nazi, but let him say for himself.
Carlson seems to be pushing something much more common in American history: segregation. That's what white nationalism really is, the belief that ethnicities should live apart and governed by their own. and Tucker certainly doesn't seem to be a fan of integration.
The less we have in common, the stronger we are? Is a marriage stronger when spouses have radically different beliefs? Are you closer to your kids when you share no common points of reference? Do you speak the same language as your best friend? Could you be best friends if you didn't?
But we actually know a lot about diversity's real, tangible scientific benefits. Ethnic diversity reinforces social cohesion. Racially diverse companies are more innovative and are 35% more likely to make higher returns than the industrial average, according to one study. Growing up bilingual increases cognitive capabilities. But Tucker seems to think that diversity is something we're suddenly being ambushed with now.
There's a few things I gotta go through here first. First of all, your best friend probably does speak English. Majority of people in the United States do as their first language. Majority. Obviously, that changes depending on how long the family has stayed here, how long, how long they have been integrated into the society, and et cetera, and et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is, nothing about what he said had to do with race. Because, break it to you, but there are some people that are of different colors that speak another language entirely fluently, regardless of the fact that, I don't know, maybe they're African, or Asian, or white. Not all white people speak English. Not all black people speak, well, whatever language they're naturally from. And not all Asians speak some form of Asian language. It's just the way that it is. I'm sorry that fucking disturbs your delicate sensibilities. But nothing about what he's saying is wrong. And yes, if you have nothing in common with your kids, you're not going to be closer. In order for people to get close, we have to have something in common. You have to find common ground with individuals in order to make a relationship with them. Very rarely do you see that different. Like, somebody that is a hardcore leftist is probably not going to get along with me very well. It's just a different belief system. It doesn't mean that one of us is better than the other. It's just an observation. It's not an inclination that he wants to segregate people, as you try to make it out like that was the case. And I don't watch Tucker Carlson all the time, but I catch some of his shows if they're put on YouTube or whatever. And despite all of your pandering, never once have I seen him say anything along the lines of segregating the races. He simply, in this situation, he simply called out a very obvious problem. The very anti-white rhetoric that's among the ultra-leftists especially. But the funniest part about this, and brings the whole idea of people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, is that take what you just said about him wanting segregation and apply it to Evergreen State College, where they literally wanted to separate black and white students. Or in some other parts of liberal colleges where they try to make where this same thing has been tried to be pushed through. It's not very difficult to understand, and when you have the ability to have self-awareness and think of yourself critically, and if you did that, you'd be like, no, I shouldn't bring this up because he was just talking about the anti-white narrative, and I'm just going to bring up segregation afterwards because reasons. When you're too fucking stupid to realize that it's your side that wants the segregation. I mean, like I said before, the woman on the DNC that said it was her job to shut down white people. And you have day to day on Twitter, people with blue check marks making very anti-white comments. Talking, almost some of them hinting at segregation, even segregation amongst the genders. It's hypocrisy, and I can't fucking stand hypocrisy. At least if you were consistent and bring up the segregation part of it and said, hey, my side argues for segregation too, but his side argues against our side in the sense that his is for the greater good of the white people and mine. I just want to segregate everybody because I'm an ideologue that uses identity for everything, which Tucker Carlson does not believe in segregation, or at least as far as I can tell. I don't know the guy personally, so I wouldn't be able to ask him. But anyway, that does it for this video. I do realize this is outside my schedule, which I really don't have much of a schedule anymore. I've been doing a lot more live streaming, so feel free to catch any of those at any time. I usually have one on Wednesday, but this last Wednesday, the person I scheduled had personal matters, and if you're an adult, or pretty much anybody for that matter, you understand that life comes at you fast. So, with that said, I will be back on tonight with my co-host Ray Savage, and we will be doing our usual shenanigans. So, with that said, Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and or night. And I will see you, glorious cunts, when I see ya.